Welcome, everyone, to the LCS Academy Summer Split. We are here in Week 2, day number 2, to finish off that Week 2 part of the split. I am Mazel, joined by Cubby and Deserex yet again for another wonderful day. How you guys doing? We've gotten some solutions here. So we have your luggage, Cubby. You're looking good. We've got Deserex's internet looking good. I just want to check in here on Week 2. How you doing, Deserex? You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling good now. No more of this laggy camera going on. Now I can be here at full quality for all of your viewing pleasure.
How about you, Cubby? You all shaved up, ready to go? You feeling back to normal?
Yeah, I gotta go shopping for a new razor. That thing busted in the luggage. It's been a hell of a week. But yeah, after this,
Indeed.
33 games in the last 9 days. It's been a hell of a start to the split as well. I'm excited to see how Week 2 wraps up.
Absolutely has. It's been a fun one. And as we're wrapping up that Week 2, got to do a little bit of a check-in on what's happening competition-wise around NA itself. And one of those big highlights is Champions Queue, as we have our updated standings. And we still got some heavy hitters up there at the top for Academy, representing Cowrie, Jan, Arrow in the top 10. But you still have a plethora of Academy players throughout the rest of it, Cubby.
Yeah, and I mean, Arrow just can't stop winning, man. Players debuts yesterday with Arrow, in the mockumentary, and now Arrow's sitting at number 9 at the ladder. I don't know, it feels like Marksman's OP this patch. Top 3, you got 3 Academy Marksmen in the top 10. That's pretty huge.
It is pretty huge. I love to see that, first of all. Also, secondly, it reminds me I need to go find my Paramount Plus password and try to watch that players mockumentary. But it'll be a good time. I love to see that, even as the new split is starting, even as players get busier, Champions Queue is still an importance to a select amount of Academy players. We got to see a huge representation of Academy players last split as well during the spring split in Champions Queue, and getting to see a lot of players that we knew and loved, in that top 10 was absolutely humongous. And then as well, getting to see them playing that and streaming and those kinds of things. It's a whole community aspect that I really appreciate. So glad we could get a little shout out for that one. But another shout out is a huge one, all right, because we here are all about development. We're all about growth. We're all about who's next. And we got some players who have marked down their names in that who's next category, because we have a decent amount of players that are going to be going to the LCS promoted from Academy. So, Cubby, I want you to break it down a little bit and start talking about this, starting with Philip himself.
So, with the top lane promotions we saw, I think it's interesting with the LCS because Philip, Gamsu getting promoted, as well as Dokla, our most valuable prospect. I'm a little bit wary of both Philip and Gamsu because, frankly, in the spring split where we played 36 games, I had both of them as in the bottom 5 and maybe bottom 3 out of all Academy top laners. So, frankly, I'm a bit wary. But I am also very hopeful for Dokla, as I think that Dokla, grinded his butt off last split, brought home the most valuable prospect, was number 1 on that Champs Queue ladder at one point, wrapped up a split at that first spot, I believe the second split. So it really showed. And Deserex, I know that you're excited about Kenvi.
Very excited about Kenvi. And what a transition off a Dokla play on top of it. Yeah, exponential growth is the word that really comes to mind when I think of Kenvi. His time on the 100 Thieves Next roster, how quickly he went to Academy. And now, it kind of breaks my heart seeing him leave the 100 Thieves ecosystem. But it's on to better things, right? It's time to smurf the LCS, as he said on his Twitter.
This guy's so good.
He's so good. I can't wait to see him pop off in the LCS. And even if it takes time, right? This is a player we're looking at to the future of the LCS. And these players are who is next. But speaking of who's next a little bit more and that continued development, we had Joshi put together a little video of some players for you to watch. So let's check out what he's got in his up next.
He's going for a flank.
He's coming from the back. He's coming from the back. Here comes Tenacity. It is time to fight. Tenacity with the Ragnarok will rock Jay.
He's here.
Harry's on the flank. Harry gets caught. The charm pulls him right on in, but there's the hostile takeover. Payback gonna be.
Oh, they save him!
Harry surviving. Harry's gonna be okay.
poking his head onto Yon. The root comes out, no follow-up. And
Lucio's waiting.
Bradley,
Bradley.
yeah, Lucio's marking Bradley, making sure that he can protect his back. Like they turn their tail right onto Bradley. If they burn him down, that's a huge advantage.
Notoriously one of the best. Now in the top lane, Surdy looking to get a kill onto Bradley. A couple more autos should do it. A flash forward. He finds the Vital.
Each had a counter pick, but we got a pause. Oh, boy.
Takeover and Copy both show up at the same time with a nice wild growth, trying to see if he can keep people alive, but Copy has to bail. True Shot Barrage getting a lot of damage to set up Hyper.
Tony Top spots him out. There's the cannon barrage. It's going deep. Will is able to isolate Tony Top, who's by himself for a while, but buying some time is going to be XU. Going with the stopwatch. A big pickup coming out for Tenacity. Getting the kill on the spot. A double kill coming out for Tenacity as he's going to chase down all of Dignitas.
I could just appreciate the music there. It fits so nicely, but that is a
grooving.
nice little list of who's up next and who we're looking at to graduate to that LCS position. And there's a wonderful list of names there. Cubby, I want you to talk a little bit about who really stood out to you in that list.
I mean, first off, if you are tuning into Academy, might be a preview of something that you see later this week. So, we try and treat you to all the good stuff here on the Academy stream.
Sneak peeks.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a sneak peek, but I think that when it comes to this list, and it's Joshi's list, but we talked about it quite a bit. Mm-hmm. These are players that we feel like have really high ceilings. Players that we've already seen do pretty well early in the split. I know Bucio's clip was from last split, but I felt like we had to include Bucio just given how exciting that he is too. Joshi felt the same way, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what these players can do because I feel like it puts a little bit more of a spotlight on them for us, and rightfully so, because these are players that we feel like are really strong in their role, have the ceilings to potentially play at the next level, for some play at a very high level at the next level, and I'm really curious to follow these 5 players, particularly throughout the split, and see how that growth comes into play for them, and how it factors into maybe trying to push for a spot in the LCS.
Exactly. Desrex, do you have any standouts in that list that we have cultivated?
I mean, if we're talking standouts, I'm sure Cubby would agree with me on this one. Just 100 Thieves, Tenacity, always looks stellar up there in the top lane. So I'm very excited to watch him because I think he's LCS ready right now. I'm surprised why he's not on a team.
I agree.
Hey, it's the same conversation we had with Kenvi all those years, or all that time,
Right,
all those years.
true.
But it is interesting to have that conversation. But little sneak peek of to who's up next, who we are looking at to really be the future of NA as well. I do want to hone in a little bit more back into Academy itself, though, and look at what we have going on to round out the week, because we have some interesting information. I know this one's a soft spot for you, Desrex, but we have the man Meech coming in for the first time of the whole split. Desrex, take it away.
Yeah, he's a fresh ADC coming in to Academy right now after an incredible individual performance over on Immortals AoE in Proving Ground Spring. He's here to show you that he is next, man. Double-digit kill performances multiple times on Immortals AoE. This is a team that eliminated TSM from the last Proving Grounds, and Meech was a big part of this. Everything he was able to pull off was phenomenal. He's a very high prospect that CLG is bringing in, and I am just incredibly excited. This is one of the marksmen I've been waiting a long time to see in Academy.
And CLG Academy is going to be really happy to have another piece to the puzzle, right? They're slowly building to what their roster wants to be, and I think this is a core piece to the puzzle, Cubby.
And, given Jenkins' playstyle and given the Meech's playstyle, the entire strategy for IMT AoE was literally just leave Anime Girl, now Soul, on an island and just work towards Meech. And it feels like that's a situation that Jenkins actually really excels in, given what we've seen from him in history. So I expect Meech to be funneled. I believe that first game against TSM, he dropped 17 kills on the Thality Xayah. I mean, that's just a filthy number. And I'm hoping that we see the Meech that a lot of fans that have tuned into Amateur are really excited to see emerge on the Academy stage, and has a good chance to do so today in our first match of the day against TSM.
Exactly that. We'll get to that a little bit later. Love the foreshadowing. I do want to talk a little bit about yesterday, though, because 100 Thieves themselves have formed Voltron, and they're ready to go here as their roster has finally come together. And as they did, they smashed their opponent. I don't even know what to say about it, Cubby. It was kind of disgusting.
If this is the 100 Thieves that shows up for this Academy split, every team in this league has to be wary, including Team Liquid, because the domination that we saw from 100 Thieves in this set was filthy. I think that moving forward, this roster, Tenacity feels like he is head and shoulders better than every other top laner in the league, unless your name is Jenkins or Darshan. Really looking forward to seeing those matchups. But also Busio, him and BMFX, the way that Busio played with priority in the first game, and then the way that Busio was able to show that champion pool, that those mechanics that we always praise him for, by busting out the Senna Seraphine in the Tahm Kench and just completely nullifying what TSM wanted to do in the second game. Keep in mind, this is the youngest team we've ever seen in Academy. There isn't a single member of this team over the age of 20, even 20 years old in the first place. And the fact that they played so controlled, so calculated in that second game is a really good sign moving forward for this squad. Yeah,
it actually is. And Busio, we've been waiting on Busio. The last split we were waiting on Busio to come in, and now like we get to see him after the level up in Korea, and it looks terrifying. But another terrifying point is the fact that we broke history yesterday in Academy as Team Liquid Academy beat IMT in 18 minutes and 37 seconds. That's a fast time, Deserex.
That is a very fast time, and a lot of that was just the Yon show. Him being on Zeri and everyone just trying to get him online. My goodness, there was no stopping him. And the thing is, Immortals tried very hard focusing all their attention into the bot lane, but they could never, ever take down Yon. And Ayla is so good at protecting, they shoved this lane down into the bot lane, and from there on, it was just Yon.
It really was. I just, like, going back and watching some parts of this game, definitely feels bad for IMT in these kinds of moments, but it was just a snowball from hell, really, for Team Liquid. And I think being able to do this after, dropping a couple games to start the season as our Proving Grounds champions, I definitely think it's a good bounce back, and it's good. It's so funny, we ended BG with another iteration of the rivalry between 100 Thieves Academy and Team Liquid Academy, and now the conversation we're having is both these teams look actually ridiculous, Cubby.
I would agree, and for the side of Team Liquid, I'm going to keep my thoughts pretty quick, just like the game. But I still feel like, someone has to topple them. I know the CLG 2-0'd them, but someone has to topple these guys before, we can give anyone else the crown for Academy. And on the side of IMT, it feels like early in the season, Chad was cheesing a lot of jungle starts to find IMT big early leads and then wins. And now that that's not happening, our Mayo that game, fun fact, actually started on Chad's buff, giving Chad a little bit of revenge from some of those invades. And I feel like IMC, when they don't get that blistering start, they don't really have a way to get started on the map. And I want to see them really try and work on that. I think Pretty and Chad did a great job last split of attacking the bot lane. I'm wondering if they return to some of that identity in this one.
Chad's not getting the Rengar anymore, man. He's not getting
He's
that.
not.
Got banned
Rengar was good, yeah.
He will not get that one unless something happens with draft. But if you want to see how they perform today, you have to check out the streams, as we do have a full slate of games across 2 separate streams over on the Academy stream at twitch.tv/Academy. It'll be Dignitas Academy taking on Team Liquid Academy, Immortals taking on FlyQuest, and then Evil Geniuses Academy taking on 100 Thieves Academy to finish out the day. Now here on the Path to LCS stream, which is twitch.tv/Path to LCS, if you didn't already know, since you're already here. I don't know how you got here. TSM Academy versus CLG Academy as our first one. We've already talked about that a little tiny bit. And then we got Cloud9 Academy taking on Golden Guardians Academy on the last game of week number 2 here on the B stream. I will say, it's very exciting to get a couple of these matchups. I'm very excited to see if Golden Guardians can find another win on their split as well. And I think that's something important to keep tracking, as they did get their first one against FlyQuest itself. But if you didn't know about any of that, if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you have no idea why you're here at the stream, then you have a problem, because you're not following at Path to LCS. Because at Path to LCS is where all the information is, where anything in a developmental is posted, where any of the content is put. You have to go check it out, please. We appreciate all the love we've already gotten, but please continue to
Grow the account.
overflow with the love. Grow the account. Keep going. It is summer
Boost it
split.
up, guys.
We're into it. I appreciate everybody that does. But now, let's get to the business at hand. We got TSM Academy taking on CLG Academy in our first series of the day. And I know I was saying, I'm really excited to see Golden Guardians Academy, see if they can pick up another win. This one is exciting because I was personally super hype on TSM Academy coming into this one because I thought they were looking so strong, but then
Wonder
they
why.
faltered a little bit, Deserex.
Yeah, they did falter. It doesn't seem like the same page is really clicking right now. I liked it when they had Mia over in the bottom lane in that support role, but Shen Yi...
TSM
You saying about Shen Yi, huh?
They
You
did
got something
really
to
well
say?
when
You got something to say?
But Shen Yi, I don't know. I don't see the communication. I don't see the clicking. Shen Yi's taking a lot of these hard engages and forcing TSM to take these fights that are just not working out for them.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to see that cohesion trying to be built there, Cubby, but you also need to look at the core pieces of the roster itself and looking at Hyper specifically as a jungler to be this, flagship jungler that we would want him to see, that we know him to be with the mechanics that he shows.
And, for Hyper, all 3 wins on TSM split so far. He has been on the Lee Sin. That's a story that, we were telling in the last split, too. His Lee Sin, it is disgusting. Oh, my God, what Hyper can do on this champion. He is a filthy Lee Sin player, but when 100 Thieves took that away, when Soul kind of got welcomed into Academy by Tenacity, and then when Shen Yi was getting counterpicked really tough by the 100 Thieves bot lane, I would say gapped in that series by Busio, TSM fell apart against 100 Thieves Academy, and we'll see if they can bounce back here today.
Yeah, and bouncing back is going to be a need, especially against the CLG Academy roster themselves, who are no slouches, even with some of the changes, and the fact that we get the first iteration of Meech on the table here in Academy. I think it's going to be a very, very fun one. But as a whole, the roster has been struggling at times, it feels like, with communication, and especially around that mid to late game as well. But talking to Triple a little bit yesterday, you got to hear some of the behind-the-scenes working and how they're trying to work through that as well, Deserex.
Yeah, and you know what? It's starting to work out. We already talked about the TL game. We've hyped that up so much, and that really was a big statement coming out from them. Triple's been performing really well when it comes to the mid game. Rosethorn has been phenomenal in the early game. These pieces are starting to click together, and now that they have Meech, we're seeing something finalized coming out of CLG.
Yeah, I think you got to look at the head-to-head matchup, right? We'll talk about the rest of the CLG roster a little bit later, but this matchup in particular, Hyper versus Rosethorn. Rosethorn trying to use these moments to shine a little bit extra here. Really needs to perform well against Hyper in his own right, Cubby.
Yeah, so I just had to take a sip of coffee to get hyped about this one. I actually really disagree with your guys' diagnosis on CLG. I think that after the first series on day 1, CLG has been really good this split. And you think of yesterday, even the 1-1 that CLG had, it's with Mash playing. Mash is a positional coach, is a strategic coach for this team. Has not played competitively outside of Champs Queue in a while, and I think the early plans that Rosethorn's been showing have been really good for CLG. I think that they have an identity between playing around the 2 strong solos. And then on the flip side for TSM, it really feels like Hyper is the one that has to get this team off the ground. And I think that Hyper is improved this split. I know that he's only picked up wins on the Lee Sin, but I think Hyper's had good showings on other champions, especially that Viego, another champion he had success with in the spring. But for TSM, I think that the meta, it feels like it's outside Shen Yi's wheelhouse, and Shen Yi is still defaulting to a lot of these engagers. And if TSM doesn't get filthy leads early, they will get outscaled in a lot of these games. I think that puts a lot of pressure on Shen Yi and Hyper, who aren't the strongest players in their role in Academy. I would like to see TSM maybe opt for some more scaling and try and enable the really strong team fighting that we've seen out of Soul, Instinct, Takeover, these young prospects they have on their squad. I think they've been really good in the later stages of the game. It's just that their champions usually fall off by the time they get there.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem is when you're looking at closing out these games. And I think that's going to be a struggle for a lot of cases in this series itself, but I also we talked a lot about the jungle matchup and how important that's going to be and a little bit about both the teams' backgrounds and things like that, but there is a matchup in here that catches my eye, especially, after getting a chance to talk to Soul and the way that he's approaching the split itself. It's Soul versus Jenkins. Like that's a banger matchup up in the top lane, Cubby.
And on the side of Soul, it was tough running yesterday against Tenacity. I think the Aatrox into Gwen matchup, Soul's going to regret that one. And then game 2, Tenacity, Tenacity played really well yesterday. And again, it feels like Tenacity is head and shoulders above the rest of the top laners. I've also somewhat felt that way about Jenkins. I think that Jenkins, coming down into Academy, Jenkins gave a great interview the last day of week 1 talking about some of the defeats that he's faced in his career, but also how he's been able to bounce back. I think that showed a lot of maturity. I think that Jenkins is someone that, I still think could get LCS time given how well I think his playstyle fits with Luger's, ideally. And Jenkins, all he can do is just play the best of whatever level you're at. And I think that Jenkins is playing at a very high level to start off this split of Academy.
Yeah, and it's going to be put to the test today, I feel like. I'm in a world where Soul bounces back from, what happened yesterday, which in all actuality players should be able to, right? And come into today and really give Jenkins a run for his money. That's going to set up a lot of very interesting storylines as well as we go through the rest of the split too. And especially with the way the meta shifts, I do want to talk a little bit about that because we did get to see the first iteration of 12-11 yesterday. So, Cubby, do you think the meta really affects the way that these two teams kind of approach the gameplay? I know you were talking about Shinyi in the style of supports, but what do you think really stands out that these two teams can kind of grasp onto with the new style of meta?
I think it's a really good meta for triple in the mid lane. Whereas I think that one of the reasons that we didn't see Takeover stick around with TSM LCS is that Takeover historically more known for the melee picks, the Lee Sin, the Akali, the Sylas. And I think that this meta is honestly going to be a good test for Takeover to see if he can expand his champion pool. 2 games on Azir yesterday didn't go the way that him and TSM would have wanted. Whereas Azir, Victor, these have always been wheelhouse picks for triple. And I think across every region we're seeing Azir really emerge as this big pick who, you can get priority mid with early, but also late game. If you cannot be dealt with, you become massive in the later stages. So I think Azir is really starting to drive the meta, and I'm curious to see how each team adapts to it, because I don't think Azir is a strong pick from what we saw so far for TSM and Takeover.
That's right. Do you have anything that maybe stands out for you when these two teams are kind of approaching this meta, I guess, especially in the second week?
With these two teams approaching the meta in the second week, what I'm looking at right now currently is Meech. Again, back to Meech, right? Aphelios was his primary play when it came to the spring, but something else that was always slipping in was his Zeri. The match results weren't exactly the desired outcome, but he showed he had a lot of mechanical play to pop out on that champion. And now that she's back in the eyes of the meta, it's something that Meech could very well take in a lot of these drafts.
Very true. And I think that's something I was interested that we didn't see. Like, we saw a few of them, right? Especially on our streams. I think we got more on the other streams. But we didn't see that much of the Zeris, and I wonder how much more we see that today. But I love that you bring up Meech, because Meech is coming in for CLG Academy. I've been waiting for that for a while and really excited to see Meech. But on the other side, you still do have Instinct. I feel like Instinct is kind of a quiet name in a lot of conversations because he's not ever brought to the forefront. But I think this is a test for Meech, right? And Instinct having experience in the role, experience in Academy himself is no slouch, Cubby.
It's the second split for Instinct. Honestly, I thought that the first 4 games where him and Mia were playing, it looked pretty good. Obviously, he had some scrim time with Shenyi last year. Shenyi coming back in. The thing about Instinct is that I know how well Instinct can teamfight at the later stages of the game. A lot of Instinct's gameplay, and this goes for a lot of the AD carries that we have in Academy, it's about making sure that you're getting to the later stages on better footing. A lot of Academy ADs, they don't punish lane hard enough, and that's what keeps them in Academy oftentimes compared to their LCS counterparts. And I think Instinct is someone that is especially guilty of that in the laning phase. Was the worst laner we had at the role in spring. Summer with Mia looked pretty good, but again with Shenyi behind compared to a lot of the other bot lanes that we have in Academy. So I think when it comes to Instinct, anytime that I see Instinct outperform lane, that gets me really excited because I have no questions about the decisions and the team fight that Instinct can make at the later stages of the game. It's just about getting out of lane on better footing.
Interesting. Yeah, and I think obviously like AD carry right now is so important in the meta, and we'll see that probably later off into the game as it goes, as we've been getting very long games anytime that Cubby or I guess are on the broadcast.
We've had the bangers, yeah.
We've had the bangers. That's all that matters at the end.
An 18-37 game in a way, that is kind of a banger. But we've
I
had
I think it's different kinds of bangers.
We've had the Academy special bangers, where we have monster objective steals like 3 times a game. That's the comfort zone here.
I'm looking for like the global ulti steals of Barons and Dragons today. That's I'm gonna keep on a counter on that today and see how many we get. Maybe Meech will play Ezreal and we'll get some steals. Who knows? But champion select for our first series is ready to go. So Cubby, Deserex, let's have some fun.
It is time. The debut of Meech, CLG, now having them in that marksman role. And this is going to be an exciting one for me. As I said, I've been waiting for this player to go into Academy now. So let's see what he's able to do on his first day.
Yeah, and I know that one of the matchups we had going into this was the junglers. I specially prepared for this matchup, Deserex, just to match you with the hoodies, and the vibe. As here we go.
I like it. I like it a lot.
We'll see what happens.
Style to the broadcast. Got to bring the style, but got to bring the comfort to the broadcast.
Yeah, the style and discount code alpha. That's all you need to know. But moving on, something we talked about a lot in the pre-show. Early, it was triples Azir, the Lee Sin for Hyper. Both going to be taken off the table, and actually TSM putting a lot of focus on that jungle pool, taking away the Wukong as well.
Hard to ban away triple. He has a very expansive champion pool. In fact, he's only played one champion twice this split so far, so lots to play onto that as more bans do come through. Wukong and Kalista not going to see as well, so Meech unable to play that one.
And I think it's going to be a first pick Viego here for TSM. It's been a massive pick for Rosethorn. 4-2 with the Viego in those games, but I think CLG, knowing this, maybe playing a game of chicken here, leaving up the Lucian for Instinct. This is going to open up the Rosethorn, or the Viego for Rosethorn, which you expect to go over, and I'm curious to see how Hyper answers that.
Yeah, so that Lucian first pick coming out from TSM Academy. A lot left on the table with this one. And it's going to be the Aphelios. So going back is going to be Meech. Going back to Comfort for this first game here in Academy will be the lock-in. Waiting for the next pick to come out as, expecting the jungle role. Viego was still left open. Rosethorn, very, very prominent at that champion. Very, very proficient at that champion. He's played it 6 times. Netted 4 wins thus far.
Expecting the Nami and a jungler to come through here for TSM. I will say, I really like the Aphelios Lulu lane into Lucian Nami. You get a lot of ways to mitigate the damage of Lucian early. Glitter Lance is a good way to buy some space for the Aphelios. You can use the guns to control the Lucian, but I was talking about junglers here, Deserex, and it looks like TSM putting a lot of priority, and rightfully so, on Soul's Gangplank. This has been so good for Soul and TSM in the early split. He's 2-0 on the champion, but I also think that the lanes that he's been able to play into Gangplank, successfully playing Camille, Vladimir, and some of the Gangplanks he faced week 1. I think Soul, this is the best champ we've seen out of him so far, and I really like it into Aphelios Lulu. That's a lot of zone control early for TSM, and you can use the Cannon Barrage to support bot lane too.
Yeah, his Gangplank is, honestly, to me, kind of a death note at this point, because everyone he's played it against has been banished away. Alorum, gone. Philip, gone. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. There's a pattern going on here. Jenkins, you gotta watch out.
Speaking of other things to look out for, Deserex, I would be shameful to not bring this up about CLG. Jenkins, of course, known for Lulu. You can play Lulu in the Gangplank. So, I think it's like a 2% chance that happens. I'm gonna, it's probably 0. But anytime we can build up Jenkins in his Wild Champion pool, we're in.
Yeah. So now, with the jungle pool left open, TSM, they're going to have to worry about bans headed their direction for Hyper, and yeah, the J4 going to be taken away, as well as the Volibear. So those bans coming through, still going to leave a solo lane available, the mid lane and the jungle to be selected on the side of TSM, while CLG saving exclusively their solo lanes.
Taking away that's an interesting one, as Olaf, not a champion, I would expect Jenkins to pilot, excuse me, as I'm expecting Jenkins to lock in that top laner, considering they see Gangplank now. But it could still be a blind here for Triple, as Twisted Fate. It's been something that's been big for Triple in his career, and would give CLG a way to attack that bot side, but nope. It will be the counter of the Gangplank. It will be one of the more standard matches we have been seeing early in the season in the Vladimir.
And I'm pretty sure I've seen this matchup go off, specifically against Soul in the GP. I gotta go double check that stat right now, but yeah, the Vladimir.
No, Soul played it into Phillips GP, played great and lost.
Ah, that's what it was. It was the other way around. Thank you.
Tenacity has played it into Phillips GP as well, and even though they lost, did pretty well that game. So pretty standard matchup, historical counter. Yeah.
Ooh, so Hyper right now going to the Diana, and he played a lot of this in spring. This was like a big dominance champion for him. So that going over towards jungle right now. One more pick to come in for the mid lane pool. And this is the expected classic combo, right?
It's a classic combo, but it's also a blind Yasuo. And I like Lulu into these two. Lulu does have ways to deal with the combo if she's not the one that Diana Yasuo jump on. But I'm also really curious to see how Triple deals with this. I do like the draft for TSM. I feel like it's comfort for Soul on the top side. Talked about how Takeover, I think, really excels at melee champions versus mages. So I think this does net TSM a pretty good chance to win. That said, though, Triple gets counter. Swain, okay, we get our first Swain, at least that I've casted so far this season, as it is a comp that has to jump into you. Pretty short ranged outside of the Gangplank, so Triple going to try and tank all that up with what we expect to be the Imperial Mandate plus Rylai's build. Really good if he's able to survive.
Yeah, this is something Sligo has ran recently, where he would go the exactly said Imperial Mandate with the Rylais and just go pure tank afterwards and try and get into the middle of the team right away. So getting locked in. This is going to be, I believe, the second time this is going to be seen in this split for Academy. So Triple now playing the Swain in mid.
And for the side of CLG, they have so much scaling to SRX. The Vlad, the Aphelios, Swain. If you are able to weather the storm early for TSM, I think that CLG, if they go into the mid game on even footing, it's good for them. I'd say maybe late game is like really where their dream is going to be. The difficulty, though, is the Diana Yasuo has so much priority, so much playmaking early in the game, and has a chance to end these team fights before they even start. So eyes have to go on Hyper and Takeover if they are able to grab the right members with that combo, take them off the map, and make sure that they start the fight in a 5v4, 5v3 situation.
They are very comfortable on these champions. Soul, Hyper, Takeover, like these are all comfort picks coming out for them. So not only comfort, they do got the combo, they do got the capability, but you know, you got to get to that point where you can get the execution going. So the game now ready to hit the rift. TSM Academy versus CLG Academy. Our first game of the day now underway.
One of the big things, before we really dive into this one, I do want to highlight Triple's Swain, the Imperial Mandate into Rylai's, why we're going to see it usually. So Imperial Mandate, the passive can be triggered by the Rylai's. So that is a constant trigger, which is really good, as it deals bonus magic damage, and allies that damage them can also consume the marks to deal bonus magic damage. So it gives you bonus move speed. Really nice for Swain to kind of keep pace, snowing everyone, and then keeping pace with the Rylai's, not to mention the teammate, not to mention all the teammates. So one of the reasons we're seeing that combo, that is the sweet spot for Swain. We'll see if the Swain and the rest of CLG can get there.
Hyper being on Diana, I gotta be honest, I always have a little bit of a bias. Diana's one of my absolute favorite champions.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. When she came out, the song Daylight's End, the first thing I did was I tried to find out who the singer was and message her to say thank you. The song's so incredibly beautiful. Like, oh my god, I just loved everything about the release of that champion back in the day. I feel like a league boomer right now.
I just like how we're talking about celebrity crushes on stream early. That's good.
Yeah.
Good start to the final day of our week 2 here at SRX. I like that energy. We'll keep it up.
By the way. Lisa Thorne, by the way.
All right, starting out with this game. Looks like we have both junglers working their way towards the bot side. That makes sense. We expect for the Gangplank Vladimir matchup is for GP to get some priority early. Vladimir really needs to get levels 7, 8, 9 to start to feel comfortable in that matchup. And of course, once you hit level 9 as Vlad, that is the sweet spot as Soul. We'll be trying to trade early, but Jenkins actually doing a very nice job early.
And Soul being across the rift from Meech feels like such a sin for me. After watching Proving Grounds and everything, it's like, oh, Meech, we meet again, but the wrong side. On the wrong side. Someone has to take a loss right here.
That was a big deal for those two amateur players. I remember Academy, or Proving Grounds, I should say, Spring. I believe week 1, it was 1-20, the record of amateur teams versus Academy squads. That was the first big win where an amateur team did take down an Academy squad. As we have to pause because Rosethorn looking to take down Hyper. Hyper's in big trouble.
Ooh, Rosethorn will not get the follow-through. Hyper taking a lot of hurt right there, but Rosethorn just going to push him right out. You can see right there that priority established by Breezy Meech in the bottom lane.
Hyper.
Oh, Hyper! Yeah, he's not taking that sitting down. He's claiming his buff.
Okay, that was really cute by Hyper. He actually got both. That sets Rosethorn really far behind. So now Rosethorn will have to take both crabs. Is now down a level as Hyper with this Diana. Really nice play from him as Rosethorn ends up wrapping up the first clear. He will double crab, but he is behind in this jungle matchup.
Rosethorn going in deep with the invade, and it was almost successful there. Meech and Breezy were able to peel off to help out, but Hyper too smart. Hyper too smart.
That's big, as, again, Diana Yasuo, we need these two to really get this game off the ground for the side of TSM. As we look top lane and early, not exactly sure how this lane played out, but this is not how we expect this lane to go. As Soul is a little bit behind the Vlad, but Hyper has that early base, looking to help out his buddy in the top side, Jenkins.
Yeah, Soul a little bit too hurt right here, and that minion wave being crashed onto his tower. It's too hard for him to pull off. He'll lose too much if he pulls off. So this gank only to really alleviate pressure more than anything else, but it does get the ghost out of Jenkins.
Soul can't TP back while Jenkins will walk, but Jenkins with a really nice first base should be okay, and the Vladimir is going to feel good as Hyper's up in this matchup, up a level as you can see, so going to utilize that to get up in the face of Rosethorn. Really like this from Hyper.
Now right in on the invade. Rosethorn, so much trouble. Puts down the smite to get some healing right back, but Rosethorn still low. Falls sub 100 and falls to the ground altogether. Takeover will show up and be able to escort his jungler right out of enemy lines.
And this is a great start to the game from Hyperman. The fact that he took away that red buff, also netted the Gromp, that outplay on Rosethorn, that gave him the level advantage to just walk up to Rosethorn and take him down in the 1v1. As the start here for the side of TSM, we need that Diana Yasuo to get ahead. Hyper already up in camps, up in levels, and up a kill. Really nice from the young jungler of TSM.
And now looking for a response is going to be Rosethorn, coming in for an invade. There are some pings going down towards the bot side. Might be aware is TSM's bot lane.
Yeah,
Hyper is walking into this direction and triple with the assist. A little bit of a collapse coming in here.
Rosethorn didn't get the first McNuggets, so he wants the second, you know. Can't blame him. You can't leave without the Nuggets, you know.
He was forced to leave last time without the Nuggets. Bigger Nuggets.
Yeah, that was expensive. He left the last time without a Happy Meal, too.
Without a Happy
Yeah. he didn't feel good about that.
What is Dragon at this point? Talking about a 3-course meal.
Oh, man.
Baron the filet mignon.
Ooh, that's actually... I feel like Baron has to be, you know, the strip steak. Or maybe that's Dragon.
We should have had this conversation while we were talking about Gamsu earlier, you know, Chef Gamsu.
That's true.
Getting
That's
this promotion.
We were talking about Chef Gamsu. We'll see what he can cook up on the LCS stage this week. But in the meantime, Rosethorn taking away the Raptors, trying to recover. He's going to take advantage of the fact that Meech Breezy doing a really nice job piloting out this lane. Again, Aphelios Lulu, I feel like it is a counter to Lucian Nami, but again, should not be ahead like this. This is a huge lead for the side of Meech and Breezy, and Rosethorn taking advantage of that. Going to hop on this early dragon and take it for CLG.
Meech, this early laning, looking good so far. Already a good performance in his debut, holding priority down here against a very, very lane-dominant duo in the Lucian Nami. This is going to enable Rosethorn to be able to grab that Drake. Infernal Drake now secured. Next one will be Cloud. But so much control on this bot side of the map coming out from CLG.
That guarantees one of the best 3 souls in the game. In fact, we see Infernal and Cloud early here, Desrex. So CLG going to feel good about that. Also, will enable CLG to try and make a play for this Rift Herald as Dragon's down. But I think TSM are going to be the ones that have full priority, have full say around this Rift Herald. Fighting Diana Yasuo at 6, not something I'd recommend. As we'll see if TSM can take advantage of that spike. It's now Instinct. Oh boy.
Ooh, a flash coming out
He's
from
dead.
Meech, dodging out the bubble. Meech will get a kill down in the bot lane, and in his debut, CLG nets their first kill thanks to Meech.
And the laning woes for TSM's bot lane continues with Shenyin. As, again, this is a Lucian Nami lane. I like Aphelios Ludo into it. I think that it is a soft counter, though, that scales throughout the game. You can use the guns to control ganks if you have the jungler come. But this has just been the straight-up 2v2 Desrex. That Meech Breezy getting the best of Instinct and Shenyin. What a great debut for Meech. See if he can take this lead and run with it throughout the game.
Academy
They don't want
off
this
to
fight.
the races. Now fight
They don't
going
want
on
this.
in the mid lane. Rosethorn's trying to escape, but Hyper has his number. Now Triple putting out the ultimate. Demonic Ascension getting a good amount of DPS in, but not enough to really finish anyone off. Still tries to pull Hyper back in. Just going to clear the wave.
I must say, I'm very surprised the CLG opted in for that. As again, Yasuo, Diana, level 6. With the Cannon Barrage as well, you do not win that matchup. It's now Triple getting chased down. Hyper, he can take this.
Triple forced to burn his flash, but Hyper still looking for it. Pops a Q. Is able to take down Triple.
And the great game from Hyper continues here, Desrex, as we were hyping up both of these junglers as people that, we felt like were stepping up early in the split. Rosethorn as a sub, Hyper compared to his performance from the last split. And Hyper, man, he ate so many bans, and Champ Select was pushed onto the Comfort Diana. Takeover matching it with the Yasuo. He's got all 3 kills for TSM. Hyper saved himself in the jungle from that early Rosethorn invade, and Hyper off to the races here in this game, Desrex.
You can talk so much about his Lee Sin. Yeah, he made a big name on it, but you can't forget his Diana. Still showing up here today in this match against CLG. CLG, on their stage of the map, on their state of the map, still playing towards this bottom lane where you have Meech with his heavy shove. Not much of a match really being made here. Hyper's going to take a recall. Definitely needs some alleviation. Rosethorn still hovering towards the side as well, so not going to come anytime soon for the bot lane duo, as Instinct still trying to peel off with his calling.
And 2 points going over to Meech. Going to feel good for the side of CLG, as that's the equivalent of picking up Rift Herald, not to mention all the golden XP that you picked up too in that bot lane from the minions for Aphelios. So we fully expect this Rift Herald. I don't think CLG is going to contest it, Desrex. I don't think they have to. I think they just want to keep their bot lane down here.
Yeah.
They're going to accept the fact that Diana Yasuo is going to beat them on the top side, and I'd say CLG winning out on the play. Look at what Meech has been able to do on this Aphelios. Up 3 waves and creeps. As for Blood, he's had a great start to the game.
And this is a very valid win condition coming out for CLG. Just get Meech ahead. Get that Aphelios towards the late game. Get him to scale. Meech can perform at those late game stages. He's already performing in the lane right here, right now. Good start coming out for him. Now Hyper starting up the Rift Herald. Rosethorn is in the area. Jenkins has priority. Moving down to meet him. Takeover going to show
bot
up.
lanes. Bot lane's rotating up. This is surprising. CLG, they actually want to contest this. Aphelios Lulu are coming. Can TSM finish before?
All right, Triple Demonic Ascension goes in. Hyper still
they
trying to
lost
secure
it.
the Rift Herald, but it's going to be lost. Rosethorn able to get the secure, and a shutdown goes through. Triple nails down TSM's jungler. They're going to secure the Rift Herald.
And TSM, they were too slow on the play to try and take the Rift Herald. It took them too long to set up the lanes, and all of a sudden, Meech Breezy can utilize the bot lane priority they had to rotate topside. They help out. They take the Rift Herald away from the side of TSM, and now they can just take more points top. Oh, whoops.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, wrong place to be. Wrong side of town, Rosethorn. They're getting dropped as he's actually not doing too hot in this game so far. 0, 3, and 1. It's really been the Hyper show in this jungle showdown.
Yeah, both junglers with some oopsies there, though, as Hyper did get caught at the Rift Herald. That did go over to CLG. But still, I think CLG are in a really nice game state right now, Desrex. They have Rift Herald against Diana Yasuo with a Gangplank, too. Their bot lane is up into Lucian Nami. And if Vlad, Swain are allowed to get to the later stages of the game without being delayed, they will be so difficult for the side of TSM to deal with. It's really going to be on Soul to connect a bunch of miracle barrels to try and save the rest of his team from just being jumped on by CLG.
Soul's done it before. 2-0 on his Gangplank.
Yes.
Bested Alorum, bested Phillip. Trying to best another veteran within the scene in Jenkins over on the top side. But now in the bottom lane, a setup coming out from Rosethorn. It's matched by Hyper, who comes out in the flank. Now the play onto
Hyper.
Meech, pulls him back in with the Moonfall. But Meech, with the ultimate, will grow big and still get the kill onto Instinct. With the tower going down, CLG are turning it around, looking for Hyper. Ultimate going to be popped out of Rosethorn, flashes forward, dodges the bubble, and takes down Hyper.
Really well played by Rosethorn as CLG, the Herald power play. They opened this game wide open. We said yesterday during their game, CLG, they had the best early game in the league. Statistically, it's been a blistering start for them and the team this split, as on average, they're up 2,700 gold at the 15-minute mark. Look at that gold lead, 2,000 gold and climbing higher after they dodge out on a really nice engage from Hyper, but it just wasn't enough damage from TSM and not enough damage from Instinct, who went too far forward and got caught out.
They couldn't take down Meech. That Lulu paid its dividends right there. Wild Growth goes out. Meech gets enough health to survive and returns fire. Now 2-0-1. So much income in his pocket. Take a look at the gold soon just to compare where Instinct is in this matchup right now. I mean, you can compare it relatively with the items, just the Gale Force completed, but it's only boots for Instinct right now, already working on his second components, Meech.
And I actually really like how you brought up the Lulu there. Breezy's Lulu, the fact that he dodged out on that Diana ultimate. We did mention earlier, you can use the Wild Growth to really get some health back, slow down Diana, knock her back, and that was used really well there. Rosethorn.
Oh, the combo comes in onto Rosethorn. He will not survive. So vicious was that assault from TSM.
Oh, Breezy tried to flash forward and save him, but just wasn't quite able to get there in time. Not quite in range, as I feel like Breezy... If you've played Lulu in League of Legends, you've been there, right? You're trying to be a homie, trying to help out your teammates. Just not quite in time.
Kind of reaching out for them as they're falling off that cliff.
It's a bummer.
You only feel the fingertip.
It's a bummer. Pix wasn't able to get there in time, man. Pix just wanted the help.
Fire Pix. Need an upgrade. Where's Mix?
Pix right now is stuck on Meech, as I think we'll see that for the most of the game. As CLG, curiously enough, actually their bot lane, after taking that turret, they have returned bot. But it's still a massive lead for them in the bot side, as Meech should be able to get that wave in. I do want to see Meech try to be put mid and have Triple in the side lane, because once Triple gets 11, once Triple starts to stack up the Rywise Crystal Scepter, Triple does have stopwatch to dodge out on one of these Lee Sin Diana combos, which, to be fair, for TSM have been good so far this game. Destrux, it is really what has given them any sort of lead early. It's just that it hasn't been clean enough, and the plays that Hyper has made without Takeover backing him up, it's been able to be turned on its head by CLG.
This Diana Yasuo combo, while it has been working, it hasn't been those big team fight ones we're looking for. It's only been single target ones, which are nice picks to have, good little amounts of gold to get into your pocket. But overall, when we're talking win conditions, getting gold onto Meech is a much bigger one.
Aphelios can get out of control, and Aphelios is so good against teams that have to jump into him. I know I was actually talking a bit with Kelsey about the state of Aphelios on the durability patch. Kelsey thinks that Aphelios actually got nerfed a little bit in the durability patch, and I have to agree. The fact that you can't one-shot people anymore, A, I think is healthy for the game, because that was disgusting from Aphelios, but also B, it does take away some of the power. Pen getting nerfed also hurt him a little bit as well, as the other part of the game where Aphelios really excelled was when, tank or people were jumping into you. That's where Aphelios can, use the guns, use the peel to really help himself out. So we'll see if Meech, as you mentioned, one of his best, most comfortable champions in his debut, can utilize the gold, the lead that he has early, to make sure that TSM cannot get into this game.
TSM are going to try and fight their way in regardless, though, as they look over towards this side of the map in the river. Rift Herald now available, and rotating members into that direction. Soul just have the Cannon Barrage available, so going to go meet Jenkins down in the bottom lane. If support is needed, should be easy enough. TSM will secure the Rift Herald.
And I think this is an intelligent drop on the side of CLG. Again, this is a point of the game where TSM's pretty strong. They don't have Mythics completed on mid or top, but it's still Diana Yasuo. I think that you're really waiting for Triple to pick up that Rylai's Deserex. You're waiting for Meech to pick up what looks to be a Bloodthirster, so you can kind of survive the early onslaught and then just run fights from there. I think once some of that sustain comes in here for the side of CLG, that's when TSM are going to be in big trouble and where CLG are going to look to push the pace. And we'll see even if CLG has to push the pace here, because we do have the third dragon. It was Mountain Soul that spawned on the Rift. CLG would love to get themselves Soul Point, but keep in mind, I still feel like they aren't. They get stronger as the game goes on. So I will be curious to see if they can test this or not.
Trying to get Triple over there. They're going to just take the slow walk for priority, 20 seconds before it does come down. For the Wombo combo that you still have over on the side of Team Solo mid, there's still some decent Wombo for CLG as well. Just having the Swain and Vladimir together, those ultimates working in tandem. We'll see if they can work in this team fight going forward. His takeover gets exhausted in the process and chased down by Rosethorn. Meech able to secure that kill now. Rosethorn looks over towards Soul, sees him over the wall, not going to continue the pursuit because the team fight's already won. Meech giving a good goodbye gift to his former teammate with a shot in the back, and now it's time for Drake for CLG.
And Meech, 9 ping has to feel good there, as that flash away from the Diana Yasuo combo was huge. And honestly, single-handedly won CLG that fight, as the combo only found one hyper takeover. We're too deep, and CLG turned that fight on its head.
Meech, he's got the hands, Cubby. He's got the hands. We hyped him up for the debut, and he's showing up, Cubby. I love it right now.
He is fed out of his goddamn mind right now. 3-0-1 at the 19-minute mark with 210 CS and counting. Even as red-white, that might be a little bit deep, but he has Lulu.
Oh, man. He's
it's not deep. He knows.
He's looking to be the front line here. Tries to take down 3 by himself. Breezy helping out the situation, but Meech will fall. Now Breezy looking to hunt down Instinct. Another kill gets picked up as Rosethorn finds Hyper. A glitter lance to finish off Instinct. So it's not all lost for Meech as he's able to get 2 assists off of that one. Another glitter lance comes out, but Shenyi will get out of range in time.
My God, what can Meech not do? First he crushes lane, then he finds the best engage that CLG has found all game so far, as he just walks into Instinct and the side of TSM and says, take my red-white, man. You can't fight this. Took 3 members of TSM to take him down, dude. Meech is huge.
He's the front line. He's the marksman. He's mage.
Oh, my God.
He's CLG.
Oh, my God. Look at this.
What in the world? What is he doing? Why is this working?
Does not care. If Hyper doesn't go golden, I think he gets 2. Because if he gets the takedown, he survives and takes down Instinct. So that was a filthy play for Meech, honestly. Again, he did have Breezy in his back pocket. He knew that a lot of sums were down as TSM. It really feels like this game has just gotten out of control again. Hyper, admirable early game, but I think that mistake around Rift Herald, the overextension mid with that last fight we saw, and then getting caught earlier too, it's really putting them behind, and now we can see why I've been trying to hype up Aphelios plus Lulu into Lucian Nami. Because if this lane gets ahead, it is so oppressive for the Lucian Nami. They cannot step up. If they do, they will get shut down by nearly any gun combo that Meech can hold. You're seeing... You know, if you have red-white, Lucian can't dash into you. If you have Graviton, you can utilize green-purple to try and get picks onto Instinct and Shenyi. I actually really like how Meech is holding on to that at the moment. Usually not a gun combo that we see, but I think it's especially good into the Lucian Nami lane. You can at least try to farm 4 picks, and we'll have to keep our eyes on mid, because thank you to our observers. Hyper is rotating down. We'll see if Meech spots this. He does not have flash.
Meech, no problem here. Hyper was spotted, and Meech and Breezy will easily walk away. I mean, Breezy, you know, the reason why Meech is slotting so well is, despite all the visa issues and everything going on with Meech,
oh boy,
the scrims were still with CLG and Meech. You know, it wasn't with Luger. Luger just slotted in on the random. So Meech has that experience with the roster. Now he's going to have to show it off as Baron is being started up by TSM. Triple over the wall, Breezy and Meech now walking up. Rosethorn getting closer here. It's going to go down right now as the tidal wave goes out. CLG potentially looking for the counter engage. Rosethorn hopping onto Hyper. Couple of autos onto Hyper as Hyper tries to turn it around with the Moonfall, but Meech is going to be able to find him, and now here comes Jenkins. Emo play goes down, tries to find Shenyi, gets a kill onto Shenyi. Will pop another bit of damage to go through a CLG. Chase TSM right into the base.
Oh, if that connected from Meech, that could have been massive. But since it doesn't, honestly, good play for TSM. I don't think they have any business being in this game at the moment. I know it's a 1K goal deficit. I know that, CLG has 3 dragons, but I don't think TSM have the comp where they can really fight CLG later, given that you cannot kill Vlad plus Swain with this team comp. You just do not have enough damage, especially with how far behind this Lucian got. So the fact they took Baron off the map, it does give them a lot of gold, might give them a chance to take, at least have pressure to make sure that this 4th dragon, the soul point for CLG, doesn't go over to them. We'll see if TSM can prevent that, give themselves a little bit more hope in this game.
They do get a little priority right here on the positioning. A lot of that thanks to that Baron buff, empowering some of these minions into the mid lane. This is going to be easy for them to push out, but it gets a little bit difficult when you realize they have no tower and CLG still stands. They rotate towards the river. You still have Rosethorn and Jenkins on the flank, just taking their buffs, taking their camps. 30 seconds before the dragon does come up.
Important to note here, Triple actually did finish the Zanyas, so not the Rylai's second. We'll delay that to make sure that he has something to dodge out on the Donnie Yasuo combo. I haven't seen enough Swain to know like whether that's really good or bad, but I think it makes sense considering that if you dodge out on Donnie Yasuo, Swain should not die in this game. As CLG trying to sneak in here. Jenkins does have a nice angle as CLG will take away some vision, and just like that, TSM, they've lost river control.
Not able to hold it. Jenkins still looking for flanks. Spots out Soul. Now TSM rotating over, back end. Gonna give up priority to get it over on the south side. The rest of CLG just holding the scuttle.
Soul did have bot lane priority, so I think, again, this is proper from TSM Shenyi to play through bot now, as we'll see if they can do anything. Keep your eyes out for Hyper. If he's able to find a big engage, that's the only hope for TSM. If that Diana Yasuo doesn't connect on enough people, this will be a quick fight in favor of CLG.
Yeah, but look at Hyper. He's getting chased away by Jenkins right
now.
Love
Love this.
And Jenkins will not allow Hyper to find that engage. CLG, however, are looking for one of their own. Triple isolated, gets dropped. The bubble doing work there, so CLG are just trying to take the dragon and get out. Hyper goes in, but the flash is too fast. He goes golden. It's going to block the ultimate coming out from Rosethorn, but not the stun. Comes out as Meech is now looking for the autos, trying to find Instinct. Will chase him down. Jenkins on the other end, looking go down the river. Rosethorn over the wall as Meech finally gets onto Instinct and will gun him down. Meech on a killing speed. Rosethorn picking up. Shenyi and CLG are able to clap back at TSM.
Bit of a mistake from Triple as he dies with Zanyas and Flash up, but the rest of the fight was just played beautifully by the side of CLG. Again, Meech flashing out of the combo SRX. And the way that CLG just able to absorb the engage from TSM and turn it with how big Meech is on this Aphelios. What a debut for Meech. 6-1-3 in his first game of Academy. A lot of fans felt like this debut was delayed. Meech showing them that they might have been right as he is having a hell of a game one here with CLG.
His sub was Luger, and CLG are not missing a beat right now. This is wild. Meech is a rookie. Phenomenal play coming out from him, being able to show up in this game. I'm excited for what we have in the future. We see more Meech play, but in this game right here, CLG just dominating.
It's funny you mentioned Luger. I actually feel like Luger is a good comparison for Meech as a player. I think that both of them are pretty similar in how they play. I also think that both are, in a way, historically have shown they're a tad limited with a similar champ pools. Like Meech, historically, I think has gone over to Caitlyn in a lot of comfort with Aphelios Jinx. I think that Luger, Jinx comfort, definitely something that's big for him. And, I mean, each player, if they are funneled resources, they are able to carry games at any level. I think that's what they've proven. Meech, of course, we haven't seen that on the LCS level yet, but we're seeing that here in the Academy level in his first game here, as it's been a great debut for Meech. It's now Breezy. Uh-oh.
Oh, over the wall into Breezy. Breezy able to walk out.
Good start.
Delays a little bit there, and now TSM with the tidal wave gets a lockdown, looking for more. A knock up onto Rosethorn, but Rosethorn returns fire. Now Meech looking to go onto Shenyi. Shenyi Blast Plant will not get over the wall just to get distance and get away from Meech in the bot lane. Jenkins has something to say to Soul. Tenacity said it yesterday, but Soul is fighting back to make sure it's not going to be the case. Jenkins, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, Soul, but it's time to be welcome to Academy.
Yeah, and Vlad in the Gangplank, of course, scaling matchup. Jenkins also in that last Dragon fight, Desrex, he was fantastic. The way that he was able to spot Hyper on the flank, take away that angle. Jenkins continuing his good play as he finds Soul, gets the solo kill. Now, TSM still looking.
Ascension comes out from Triple. Nice Sonya's out of Hyper to avoid the pullback in.
I love how Meech still is sitting on green plus purple. This is usually like the gun combos you want to see out of Aphelios's are blue purple and then green white. But I think that it shows just really good presence of mind about what Aphelios needs in this comp. And I think Meech, you know, showing some of his expertise on the champion, saying that, hey, I can have green purple and then rotate into blue purple and then rotate out guns fully there to get to red white. I think that the way that he's managing his guns on Aphelios has been really sound this game. And I think that something that we don't usually see is actually something that tells me that Meech is really thinking about what he needs this game and is reading this matchup really well.
TSM trying to threaten position over at the Baron right now. You can see that objective bounty available for TSM as they've fallen behind quite a bit. 27 minutes into this. It's been a strong lead coming out, 6K in favor of CLG, and they're looking to take a fight. The calling comes out. Instinct gets a good chunk on the Rosethorn, but here comes Triple, looking to try and pull in the rest of TSM. He's going to isolate TSM, but the combo comes out. It takes down Rosethorn in a heartbeat in an instant, but Meech is here, and Meech is gunning them down. Gets another shot in, a killing spree going to come out from Jenkins as TSM suddenly dispersing, fearing what CLG can bring. Moonlight Vigil not going to find its mark. Now looking for Soul. Soul will go on the run. Here comes Triple, and Jenkins with the flank onto Shenyi will find the kill, but Instinct able to get one onto Breezy.
Hell of an engage from TSM, but it's not enough. CLG, their comp has scaled, and CLG is here to make sure this game goes in their favors. Instinct being hunted down on the back half. Meech, okay. Doesn't have flash yet to go over the wall. I think it's smart that he saves it. But man, again, Meech, he was found on that engage. That was a really good start to the fight from TSM, but CLG, if they survive that burst with the help of Mountain Soul, it was only a single kill going over the side of TSM with that Tiny Hospital combo, and Meech, importantly, with the stopwatch, survives.
Now, Baron for Counter Logic Gaming Academy. As we take another look at what enabled that Baron. Now, a lot of zoning on one end, a great wombo, but Meech stays alive.
Oh man, that big combo again from Hyper and Takeover. That's the perfect start to the fight, but you can see Jenkins, he was just able to turn that with ease with how big he is on the Vladimir. Meech going golden, having blue-red, a combo that, you know, with you get AoE lifesteal, it's really easy to survive. Again, not the best guns. I think he was trying to rotate out to maybe get blue-white, but hey, Meech rotating out, right, blue-white, red-white is what I was trying to say. Meech rotating out these guns, though. He is still an absolute monster in this game. Utilize that broken stopwatch down to pick up Guardian Angel. And with the Mountain Soul, with the GA, yes, TSM was able to stall this game out to Elder, but what hope does TSM have trying to take this fight? It's got to be some sort of insane engage from Hypers. Now he's getting zoned off.
And that's the problem
Nice
right there. They always chase down Hyper. They're not
good.
allowing TSM to set up for these fights. They don't want the Wombo combo to go through. They felt the damage that Diana Yasuo can do. And look at Jenkins on the flank, making sure that will not become a reality. Challenge into Soul. On the other end of the fight, Rosethorn taking a lot of shots. Tidal Wave goes out. Triple looking for more, but look how low Rosethorn is getting. Still going after that Elder.
Jenkins, that's
looking
big.
for the play. He will go in alongside Triple. There's the Imperial Mandate doing work. Cannon Barrage going to come down as Meech is able to find one onto Hyper. Now the Moonfall, the chase,
Rosethorn.
the follow-up. Meech with a double kill, and TSM head for the heels. Rosethorn's not done with them, though. Sees Shenyi, takes down Shenyi, takes the Elder on top of it. Counter Logic Gaming, a dominant game number one is looking to come to a close.
And the way that CLG has played out this game, again, I feel like is going to be what we see from CLG Academy for a lot of the split. Leave Jenkins isolated on the top side, funnel Meech. Because we have seen what Meech can do with resources, Desrex. Doesn't matter if he's playing an amateur, doesn't matter if he's playing in Proving Grounds or Academy. If you give this guy resources, he is going to try his best to make the most of it. And damn, did he do a good job of that in Game 1, as Meech has been a monster this game.
Diving all the way to the obelisk. Doing a little damage there and just heals it right up on the minions. Nexus Tower number 2. Going to be forfeit in just a sec if CLG would focus onto it. But they're focusing on the damage. My goodness, a good chunk to come through. They're just going for the BM at this point because it's a strong debut coming out for this rookie, Meech.
9-1-4. Shout out to Breezy too on the Lulu. I think I had great positioning, was able to buff up Meech consistently throughout those fights. And man, CLG, it feels like, what is this? Their third different roster they've played with in the first 2 weeks of Academy. They're sitting in the standings right now, 6-3. I think their strength of schedule has been pretty good too. I mean, they got 0-2 by Immortals, but since then, taking down GGA, they 2-0'd TLA, a 1-1 against Dig with Mash in. And then now a dominant game 1 over TSM, man. CLG looking good to start off Academy.
Yeah, I'm loving this iteration of CLG Academy. Everything they're bringing has, like, what can you really say about it as a whole other than good League of Legends? Meech, my word, Meech. That is his debut performance. This is his first time on the Academy stage, and he's showing up here. You know, he's saying, who is next? Meech is next. I am next. I want to climb that ladder. I want to show that I am one of the better marksmen here today. And, I mean, that was a statement to be had from Meech. But we're going to throw out of a short break. When we return, our intermission will begin with Mazel, so be sure to stay tuned.